I was a toddler in 1973, but I remember the year, and I remember everybody talking about Richard Nixon and the word resign, and I remember hearing siege. I didn't understand it, but it was White House under siege. People were talking about him being under siege. I have deja vu. Tonight feels like 1973, the Nixon administration, and when the country caught on, the whole country, especially the media, that this presidency will probably come to an end and not at the end of a 4-year term. This report from the Special Counsel, Mr. Hur, is an apocalyptic takedown of Joe Biden and any shred of his integrity, ability, decency, judgment. It annihilates all of it, all of it. And Joe, who at one point so gleefully pointed his finger at Donald Trump, and he still does it in desperation, he's guilty of what he accused his enemy of all along. And government prosecutors are saying that. Government prosecutors who work for the government right now. It is amazing. Let's start with the report from Mr. Hur issued this afternoon. President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. Let that sink in. That is a damning statement. That is a crime. That is a felony. Disclosed materials. And it's not just a label. There's evidence, real evidence. This is what real criminal justice looks like. Not all those crazy indictments we've been following of Donald Trump. This is the real deal. It's a takedown of Joe Biden, but it's also a total stinging rebuke of Jack Smith and the horrendous politicization of the Justice Department. Back to the report, please. Issues of national security and foreign policy implicating sensitive intelligence sources and methods. FBI agents recovered these materials from the garages, offices, and basement den in Mr. Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home. And you want to see what that looked like? You probably have by now, but let's take another look. A pigsty. Listen to this. These are the Afghanistan documents were ultimately found in Mr. Biden's Delaware home in a badly damaged box in the garage near a collapsed dog crate, a dog bed, a Zappos box, an empty bucket, a broken lamp wrapped with duct tape, potting soil, and synthetic firewood. Do you remember Joe Biden's indignation when the FBI staged those documents on the floor? Donald Trump didn't leave them there. The FBI put them there. And what did Joe Biden say about that after the crime of Mar-a-Lago being raided?
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
Well, sources and methods, obviously. The hypocrisy is beyond. Politically, it's unrecoverable. It should be unrecoverable. And I think even the mainstream media will not be able to protect this man any longer, nor should they want to. You heard about methods and procedures. He didn't know that. He was guessing. He was trying to scare people. He was trying to win points for himself. They found methods and procedures, sensitive stuff in that silly garage of his. Now, Joe Biden also, it looks like, I think he was arrogant with these investigators because they get a little snippy here with Joe. Back to the report, early on, page 2. Joe Biden sees himself, Mr. Biden has long seen himself as a historic figure. Elected to the Senate at age 29, he considered running for president as early as 1980. I did not know that. And did so in 1988, 2008, and 2020. He believed his record during decades in the Senate made him worthy of the presidency. And he collected papers and artifacts related to significant issues and events in his career. He used these materials to write memoirs published in 2007 and 2017 to document his legacy and to cite as evidence that he was a man of presidential timber. I love reading it. I've heard the biography a million times, but it's delivered with edge, with a little bit of, it becomes apparent here, but Joe, we all know, can blow his head, right? When he's angry, when he's challenged. He got angry at them, and they did not believe him. And when you're being lied to and somebody yells at you, they're yelling at you and lying to you at the same time. I don't care if you're an 8th grader or a Department of Justice senior lawyer, that's going to get under your skin. And if the person doing the lying is the President of the United States or an 8th grader, there's going to be some sort of punishment, and I think we're seeing it here. This is just the tone and style. The substance is devastating on its own. Now, why was Joe Biden keeping all this classified stuff, right? Well, they have a motive here. Listen, when he was vice president advising Obama on the war in 2009, they had a difference of opinion. Obama thought they had to surge forces, and Biden thought they should withdraw forces. Despite Mr. Biden's advice, the report says, President Obama ordered a surge of additional U.S. troops, and Mr. Biden's views endured sharp criticism from others within and outside of the administration. But he always believed history would prove him right. He retained materials documenting his opposition to the troop surge, including a classified handwritten memo he sent President Obama over the 2009 Thanksgiving holiday and related marked classified documents. FBI agents recovered these materials from Mr. Biden's Delaware garage and home office, as we mentioned. I've heard a million times that Joe Biden was very sensitive to criticism from the Obama people. You know, you have Team Obama, Team Biden. Hunter Biden has actually written about that, how he thought his father was disrespected in the Obama White House. He's gathering classified material to protect his own reputation. But that's against the law. You're not allowed to take it home. So, and this stuff was very sensitive stuff, not just classified stuff. Let's look here. Page 3. Marked classified documents about Afghanistan. They had classification markings up to the top secret, sensitive, compartmented information level. That's serious stuff, folks. These materials were proof, the investigators wrote, Mr. Herr wrote, of the stand Mr. Biden took in what he regarded as among the most important decisions of his vice presidency. Now, get this. In a recorded conversation with his ghostwriter in 2017, about a month after he left office, Mr. Biden said, while referencing the 2009 Thanksgiving memo, that he had just found all the classified stuff downstairs. He had just found all the classified stuff downstairs. Okay, people are excited about that. This is the important part. You ready? Put it up on screen, please. Oh, first of all, this is the ghostwriter. Mark somebody. This is the guy who helped Joe Biden write his 2017 memoir, his second memoir. And Joe Biden gave this guy, a civilian without security clearance, classified information, according to our government. Now put it up on screen, please. At least 3 times, Mr. Biden read from classified entries aloud to his ghostwriter, nearly verbatim. At least 3 times, Mr. Biden read from classified entries aloud to his ghostwriter, nearly verbatim. Now, people out there already are saying, well, wait a second, Trump did all this and more. No, he didn't. And there is not nearly this specificity in the indictment. of Donald Trump. Now, you may remember the audio recording that everybody had a field day with. This is Donald Trump sharing classified information, right? No one has proven yet what he was actually waving around, but he's not giving anybody information verbatim. There is a universe of difference between what is alleged in this complaint or this report and what President Trump said here.
Wait a minute, let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send
Private
it,
email.
she'd send it to Anthony Weiner.
That kind of stuff. It's just, he's not relaying, he's not speaking verbatim about anything. And he's the president. It's another distinction actually these guys get to. Do you see what's happening here? Mr. Biden's memory was significantly limited, both during his recorded interviews with the ghostwriter in 2017 and in his interview with our office in 2023. You know, it's one thing if you hear people on cable news talk about Joe Biden's failing brain and memory, but here we have government lawyers presently employed by the Justice Department saying that Joe Biden is out of it. And in the footnotes and in the deep details, it gets worse. He can't figure out the year he was vice president. It is amazing. Next, please. We have also considered that at trial, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. You see, that's fascinating. What this shows is the prosecutors think he did it, right? They think he's guilty, but they're not confident they can convince a jury of that. Isn't that kind of wild? It will be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him, by then a former president well into his 80s, of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. I wonder if Joe Biden in a million years ever would have imagined, when he started openly talking about stopping President Trump from not just beating him in an election, but preventing him from standing for election. Do you remember this?
We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power by, if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
The legitimate efforts of our Constitution. I'm looking at the legitimate efforts under our Constitution right here. This report by Mr. Herr. And this man, according to these prosecutors, and anybody can see it, is guilty. And it's amazing. More to say about this. We're only halfway through. It's amazing. Be right back.